Welcome to Business Insight Fredericton. I'm Krista Ross, CEO of the Fredericton Chamber of Commerce. Today, I'm visiting an amazing bike shop, Explore Velo, and I'm talking to the owner, Paul Volpe. This bike shower seems pretty unique. Tell me about it.
It's very unique. It's custom built. It was something I had in mind for a long time, just to be able to fully maintain a bike, keep it in good working order. You want to keep it clean, lubricated, to make sure everything's in working order.
Paul, tell us about your business. In a couple of sentences, what do you do?
Explore Velo is a full-service bike shop. We have maintenance services, repair services, and of course we sell bicycles for the beginner all the way to the expert and everything in between. Young and old, we're here to help.
That is awesome. So I'm looking around and I'm seeing a lot of inventory. Tell me about how you know what to bring in.
Well, it's funny. I've been working on this secretly in my mind for a few years. And in Fredericton, we have a few great bike shops, but there's only a few. Whereas you go to other cities and there's dozens of bike shops. So with visiting those dozens of bike shops, you see all the other brands that Fredericton didn't have. So obviously I focused in on brands that we didn't currently have to try to expand the inventory available for customers in central New Brunswick and Fredericton. The goal was all along to bring brands, products, services that the existing great shops didn't already have.
So how did the business get started and when was that?
Well, we opened our doors December 17th, just a year ago, and we had keys to this great location a few months earlier. We built everything up, and we opened December 17th. So the issue is that it took a few years of business planning and working on the Excel spreadsheet to get everything right and find inventory. So during the pandemic, of course, there was a huge shortage of bicycles because of the increase in demand, plus factories being closed. So that made a huge impact on available inventory. Luckily for me, I didn't have pre-existing relationships with brands, so I called up and said, look, I'm interested in your brand, do you have anything available? If yes, we'll keep talking. If no, I'll move on. So luckily for me, because I was new, there was pros and cons to that. No, I didn't have all the relationships and inventory and contracts available, but at least I didn't also have any I didn't owe anything to anyone, so I could reach out to the great brands I was hoping to bring in and get them in if they had anything available.
I'm no expert in biking, so I would like you to tell me what are the best brands that you carry?
Well, we've got 6 or 7 great brands here. We've got 3 Canadian brands, Velec e-bikes, a 15-year-old Quebec company that all they do is e-bikes. They've been doing it for a long time. They know what they're doing. We also have Moose Bicycles, which has fat bikes, fixies, gravel bikes. Then we have Spheric from Quebec that also has a very broad range of bikes, including road bikes, fat bikes, mountain bikes. But then we also have the other international brands that I'm so excited to bring here to Fredericton. Orbea Bikes, which is a Spanish company that we have some very local, popular people that rode with them for 15 years. Catherine Pendrell, a former world mountain bike biker, won all her World Cups on the Orbea bikes. And then we also have Salsa Bikes, a 40-year-old American company. It's all about exploring and adventure. And then we also have Marin Bikes, which is also a 36-year-old US-based mountain bike and exploration company. And those are just some great brands we're glad to bring to Fredericton.
How did you decide upon this location?
Well, once again, everything we've tried to do here at Explore Velo is to be different. Not better, not worse, just different. We've tried to be outside of downtown, where there are currently a couple of great bike shops there. We didn't want to necessarily compete in that area. We wanted a bright and big location to have everything out in the open and everything available for customers. We also wanted to bring in some unique features that a smaller location might not have been able to fulfill. We have a bike shower here. We have an electronic lift in the repair bays. We have murals on the wall to try to make it motivational and inspirational. We have a mock bike trail on the floor. We have a 4-season test track in here. We tried to be different, just to offer something that the community didn't have. And that was based on my research over the last 10, 15 years of getting back into cycling and basically interviewing these other shops. I didn't know 10 years ago I was going to leave my job and open a bike shop. But as my passion drifted from cars to bikes, and I could see what cycling did to my mental and physical health, it progressed into a passion that I saw a business opportunity, and we chose this location to be different.
So do you work on repairs for just your own products, or can people bring in the bike they've had in the garage and they're thinking of getting back into it?
Well, we'll help anyone get on their bike. If it's a bike from another brand, we'll gladly bring it up to spec and we'll fix it. We'll replace chains, we'll replace cassettes, we'll replace tires. We'll do everything on any brand, and we'll hopefully bring it to a state that you'll enjoy it.
How did you make the decision to leave the corporate world? You had a great job.
Yes, I did.
Tell me about that decision and how you came to it.
A perfect storm of many things. Number one, COVID made you think again with everyone, where should you lie and where do you want to do? And what do you want to be the rest of your life? And as I just about turned 50 at the time, working 25 years in a career with 3 great organizations, you wonder, is this what I'm supposed to be doing or not? During that 25 years, it also laid my entrepreneurial side dormant. When I was in high school and university, I ran micro businesses or mini businesses, a sporting goods company, a typing business at university, and then also always bought and sold things on eBay or the internet, even before people knew what eBay was. So I've always been entrepreneurial, and I always loved customers. So this is sort of is now feeding my entrepreneurial spirit of getting back into business.
So tell me about the team that you've built here at Explore Velo.
So right now we've built a great team of some part-time people, some full-time people, and they're all passionate about cycling. They all race or ride mountain bikes or ride road bikes or ride any type of bike, but they're all passionate about cycling. And that's the key here. The more passionate you are about a certain venture, the more you'll be interested and be able to provide the right advice to customers and provide the right information and the right options to customers. That's what we're all about, is we're here to not sell you something, we're here to provide you with information to help you make the best choice about what product you want to buy or what bike is the best for you. And that's what we want to help customers do. So finding the right resources in post-pandemic is still a struggle. We're still hoping to find more cycling passionate people, but so far so good, and I think customers are happy with who we've brought in. We're trying to be diversified. We want to have as many women as we do men, and as well as other diversified people as much as we can.
Tell me about the name of your business. How did you come up with it? You've talked a lot about exploring. What does it mean?
It's about going to places you've never been. This name that we've ended up with, it just fits well with everything else we want to do, and the logo blends in perfectly.
Who's your main customer here?
We have the teenagers that are coming in, as well as a 70 and 80-year-old buying their first e-bike. We're young and old, beginner or expert. We've catered to them all so far in the last year, and we want to continue catering to more of them. It's not just the experts. We've got $400 bikes here all the way to $15,000 bikes. So we're here for the whole gamut of any customer that wants to explore, wants to find a new adventure, find a new bike trip, the new bike packing trip, and find whatever can suit their health and their position.
That's exciting to hear, because I might have had an impression that it was really a place for experts. So tell me about how you find the people that are just starting into biking. How do you get your message to them?
Well, interestingly enough, opening a new business, that is the biggest concern, is will people find you, especially when you're not in a normal retail area with high traffic. We're just outside of the downtown core of Fredericton, and so people really need to come to us. So that means they need to find us. So even before we opened, we teased the message of a new bicycle shop in Fredericton. That got people interested, and then we sort of kept the location secret until the final minute. That piqued people's interest. Word of mouth, Currently, we're using primarily social media to get our names out there, either Facebook or Instagram, of course, or even a little bit of Google. We have used some traditional media, some direct mail, a little bit, and then also some paper media. But however, social media and word of mouth is definitely the best way to get our name out there. So far, our reviews on Google and Facebook are fantastic. We're shocked at how accepted we've been from the public and customer base. And so far, I think our message is getting out there. But every day, somebody comes in here, I didn't know you guys existed. Wow. And the wow is great. Didn't know you existed a year in is still an issue, but I know that's going to happen for another 2 years. People say, wow, I didn't know you existed. So it is still a struggle to try to get our name out there, but we're doing it one person at a time, one day at a time, and one sale at a time. Regarding the location, a lot of people thought, well, geez, outside of downtown, outside of retail, will that actually work? Well, luckily for us, I've actually seen it happen where another big bike business in another city has gone just down the outskirts of town, and so far it's worked well for them. So I wanted to bring in a lot of the same benefits that being just outside of downtown helps. Easy parking, easy access, close to the highway, close to the main roads, very easy to get in and out of, and it allows us to have a great, big, bright space here at 385 Willsey Road, just outside of town. And so far, people are finding us, people are coming to us, people are loving coming in here and seeing something different.
Tell me about the growth trajectory for this business. Are you where you thought you'd be a year ago when you opened?
Well, funny enough, when we build a business plan, we come up with assumptions. We think of X, we think of Y, we think of Z. And until you actually open those doors, you don't know how things are going to go. We've brought in the right products, we've brought in the right services, we've been able to get the growth and the excitement to a level that the word of mouth is great. And it's crazy to say where we are today, a year later, compared to where we were a year ago. We've been able to reach our annual goals 2 months early. We've exceeded our revenue plans by 10-15%, and that just validates the plan and the assumptions that we had. We knew that there was a demand for another bike shop in Fredericton just because there's 2 great bike shops in town, but the community is so huge in Fredericton and central New Brunswick that 2 or 3 bike shops wasn't enough. They were going to Moncton, they were going to St. John, they were going to Sussex, they were going to other places across New Brunswick because 2 simply wasn't enough to fill the demand. So it was great to be able to validate that with the fact that people are buying from us. People are finding things to fill their needs here at our Explore Velo. We always wanted to be different than the other shops, not to be better, not to be worse, just because we knew there was such a huge demand, such a huge market that wasn't being tapped into. We had half as many bike shops as Moncton and St. John, and we're not half the size of those locations. So we knew mathematically it should be able to work if we execute properly.
Fredericton is known for having a great trail system. Do you think that has contributed to the popularity of biking?
Absolutely. Not only the trail system that most Frederictonians see downtown Fredericton, but there's been a huge growth of mountain bike trail building, mountain bike trail development in Fredericton, just outside of Fredericton, throughout the whole province. The whole province has seen huge growth in ridership or cyclists just because of the infrastructure growth. We see downhill trails at Poley that we never thought would happen. We're seeing some interest at Crab that we never thought would happen. So that is just growing the interest and piquing the curiosity of many. They end up trying it and end up loving it, then want to do more, bring in their friends and family, and it just keeps going on and on.
So you chose to open a business during a pandemic. Tell me about that decision.
During the pandemic, obviously had some challenges of finding inventory, especially in cycling where the growth was exponential and there was a lot of shortage. And there still is some shortage to a certain extent, although you can't really see it here today. But there are still some parts that are difficult to get. Some items that are still very difficult to get, you might have to wait a year down to get those parts. I was always worried that, geez, what if I have to close and I can't generate revenue? So we had that in the back of our mind because when we opened, there were still the restrictions in place. So that was in the back of my mind. Getting inventory was an issue in the back of my mind. But with the support of the family, it's, Paul, if you don't do it now, you'll never do it. So it was just, like I said, a perfect storm of many things happening at the same time. And turning 50, 25-year career, the opportunity, because this wasn't just, oh, I love cycling, I'm going to open up a bike shop. This was a due diligence business plan with my 25 years of business experience that we were able to come up with the right pieces at the right time for the long term. And so far, we've been able to execute on many of those pieces. But my kid said, Paul, if you don't do it now, you'll never do it. It won't be at 60. It won't be at 70. Do it now. And thank you.
Welcome back to Business Insight Fredericton. Join me now as we learn more about Explore Velo from Paul Volpe. So what would you say is the biggest success that you've had so far in your business?
Yes, the revenue goals that we've achieved is great, but ironically, seeing how the whole family has come together to work here, building the walls, putting the inventory on the walls, setting all this up, it was basically a labor of love for the family. Now it's not so much. Now they don't see me much anymore. Now they get to take trips and I end up staying at the shop. But just that it's been a great growth experience for the whole family. Ironically enough, my oldest daughter is taken over the shop. I don't get to make many decisions anymore. And obviously she's got her own career and she's in sciences at UNB. But she's got a little entrepreneurial spirit that's also burgeoning. And my wife has spent many hours before we opened setting up inventory in the system, setting up inventory on the walls, counting inventory, opening boxes. And now she's gone back to her regular job. But it's been a great labor of love for the whole family. And having the staff embrace it just as much as we have is also as important as the revenue goals that we've achieved.
Tell me about maybe if you've made a wrong decision or a failure. And I know we talk about those as opportunities for learning, but tell me about that.
So we definitely made some mistakes. Of course, we either buy too much inventory or buy too little inventory. So we need to make adjustments based on the time of the year and the demand and customers. But then we also want to make sure we keep the focus on resources and human resources top notch. So we have to focus on that to find the right people and the right passionate people, and want to make sure we keep the hands on the handlebars to make sure we steer in the right direction.
What would you say, Paul, is the most challenging part of running this business?
Right now, because we're still new, I am doing everything day to day, and I love doing it, but now sooner or later I need to make sure that the staff are able to do the day to day. So I can step back and look at things strategically. How to lower costs, how to increase revenue, how to find more of the perfect staff that we need. What other brands do we bring in?
What would you say is your favorite part of running this business?
Oh, I'd say all of it. I love getting deliveries in the morning. It's like Christmas every day. You wonder what's in that box, what's in this box. I'm excited about writing the paychecks for employees. I love being able to teach employees things. Right now, I know it sounds crazy, but right now I'm loving almost everything. Sure, there's some challenges throughout there, but it's how you look at the challenges, how you react to them, and how you try to fix those challenges.
Paul, have you had any surprises?
Absolutely. The day we opened, I didn't know if I'd be the only one in here, or if we had more people, or people were lined up at the door. While we were building, we kept the door open. People would come in, are you open yet? Are you open yet? No, not yet. We had to keep people at bay. But the day we opened, at 11 o'clock or 10 o'clock that morning, we had people at the door and we made our first transactions that morning. So it was exciting to see that it was validating the business plan, validating the demand that I knew was there. Once again, it's from bring people back from buying online and buying local. Supporting local. That's what we do. We're all local people here. We've used local firms to come up with our logos. We've used local firms. So we want, again, to support local and hopefully we can bring more support local here too. In terms of surprises, I'm surprised that even though we only open at 10 or 11 in the morning, as soon as I walk in at 8 or 9, I keep the door unlocked. People come in, people buy, people browse. I make sure that anybody can come in. If I'm here, the door's unlocked and please come in.
You talk about supporting local, and I know that there are probably some organizations or individuals that have supported and helped you. Tell me about that.
Well, we use some of the local law firms, of course, like McInnes Cooper. We've used the CBDC and their services for entrepreneurs. We use Creative Juices to help come up with the logo on our website that's not completed yet, but hopefully very soon. Everyone be patient. The website looks great. I just need to find more time to finish it off. And the Chamber, of course. I couldn't have done this without Chamber. In my banking days, I would take part in Chamber events. We became a member of the Chamber because it was a great networking event, networking opportunities, great people, great knowledge with those networks.
Tell me about advice that you received when you were getting your business up and running. What is the best advice you got?
Have a plan. I don't know if that's advice that I've been given, but it's something that obviously over the 25 years I've learned to do, either in my banking days when I saw all these entrepreneurs with plans. Our business plan is in an Excel spreadsheet. It's got 20-some tabs, each with a different topic or a different file. And I worked in that for a year or two before opening the doors, just to make sure, fine-tuning things, names, phone numbers, brands, pros and cons of each, numbers, of course, projections, how much money will I need to bring in here? We have all those items in there, but also have integrity. Early on, I've learned that having integrity is the most important thing.
Paul, what are you most proud of in your business thus far?
Thus far, once again, I think it's about how it's changed our family. It's how we've made an impact to the local community, the local cycling community. Even people that weren't cyclists before, we've made an impact in some of their lives. They're healthier, they're happier, mental health is better. That's what it's all about. 12, 15 years ago when I got back into cycling, I was reaching 40. I was getting up out of bed in the morning, wasn't feeling great, felt sore every day I was getting out of bed. Started cycling again, lost weight, felt better, the pain went away. I literally feel better at 50 than I did at 40. And I've got to attribute that to all the time I've spent cycling, the 5,000 kilometers a year or 6,000 kilometers a year, or the time I've spent cycling.
What plans do you have for your business over the next 12 months or maybe even the next 3 to 5 years?
Well, over the next 3 to 5 years, I've got some plans for that. Hopefully will mean maybe buying a building, building a building, perhaps. That's further down the road. A lot of things need to happen before then. Short term, we want to launch a rewards program where our customers are rewarded for shopping here. And that's going to be launched very soon. Just need to cross the T's and dot the I's. But I think, once again, it's about improving the community or improving the cycling world, or again, one by one customer at a time, one happier service at a time. And we're trying to take our time, but we also want to make sure that people leave satisfied and happy.
We're always looking for great companies with a unique story to feature on the show. If you have suggestions, please get in touch with us.